Hey, Jennifer. Um, I really do love how when I sit with this work, and hopefully you can hear me. Um, when I sit with this work, and I especially if I do a live, if I share the information that's coming to me, everything starts to shift in my life. And I've known this before, but I've wanted to be really protective with my energy because as I age and as I've stepped into perimenopause, I've really found that ebb and flow is incredibly intense. And I have to monitor that, or else my nervous system can crash really quickly. So today I had to go and do, I call it adulting or humaning. I had to go and do something with my kid. It was very I had to put on my grown-up hat. I even tried to I I appeased my son and dressed a little more mother-like than I usually would. And I did that and I knew that it kinda dysregulated me a little bit, but I also knew it gave me the confidence to move towards where I'm going because it's giving us more stability. Um, so that's amazing, but then when I came home, I thought to myself, "Okay, off of this stability, what can we do? Now you're feeling good about yourself. How can we move all the other things that I've been looking at this week that maybe I am struggling with? Maybe there are still some shadows that I haven't faced." I know my relationship is one that I always struggle with. I just struggle with relationships in general because I think I'm a good communicator, but I don't think necessarily I communicate my emotions. I communicate my intelligence, my thoughts, but to communicate my emotions is really hard for me. So I'm learning through this process to just sit with those emotions no matter what they are, whether they are anger, sadness, whatever. I kind of go, well, why am I feeling this way? What's pushing me down this path? Is it just that I'm feeling really lonely right now? So, of course, you're going to feel sad and miserable? Or is it everybody is stressed out in the house and I'm just feeling overwhelmed and it's really not anxiety? It's just energy. Um, and that's the thing, I'm giving myself the time to observe those feelings so that I'm not turning them into, all this negative stuff. Yeah, of course you're gonna feel lonely if you're, going through a bunch of stuff that nobody really understands, but that doesn't mean your husband doesn't love you. And my brain has a really hard time wrapping its way around those things because I don't really understand emotions. I love to say that I think I do, but I don't think I really do. And even just starting to share um, some of this stuff and how I process it has really helped me understand that, I need to see my emotions. It's not like my emotions, this isn't me crying. It's not that literal. Um, but when I move this is the thing. Emotions need motion. And this is the part that when we get stuck and we're just looking at this thing and we're going, oh my God, why? And it's just sitting there and we're just kind of stuck on it. We're like, oh, but this really sucks. This really sucks. This really sucks. And yeah, if you just sit there and stare at it, it's going to continue to really suck. But what if you actually did something with it? So, one of the things that my body's been telling me to do is have baths. So I've started kind of taking that seriously and actually having a ritual bath in the morning after I've taken my kid to school and after I've, done the things that I have to do to human. I can now actually just say, "Okay, it's your time." And, how about you wash off some of that stuff that got stuck to you that maybe isn't serving you today? that maybe you can leave that over here for a while. But like for me, it has to be very physical. People will say I'm a very somatic processor. I physically have to do the things. And there are other people that are a total cognitive processor. So it's why this really works for me. But you have to work through it to understand, like, where am I kind of stuck? Like for me, every single time I put movement back into my life in some way, things get happier, get healthier. The more that I'm conscious of how my body's feeling, and like I have been cramping in my calves, and that's a whole thing, like feeling unsupported and stale and stagnant and stuck and like all of this stuff. And you can interpret that stuff until the cows come home. But it's not until you actually sit with it and go, okay, well, I'm stuck. How do I create movement? Ta-da! For me, doing this sigil work, doing this creative process where I'm processing my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, and putting it into something, whether like it honestly doesn't matter. Like, one of the things that I said to somebody in one of my art classes once was, my art is never finished. Like, I found a couple of pieces today, and actually, here, hang on. It's probably why I got it out. This has always been really hard for me to look at. Um, and if you look really, 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 really close, look how many dots are there, people. Um, this was one of my final pieces for high school, and it was kind of like how I felt about myself. And I, at the time, didn't feel good about my ability to draw human beings. And now I understand that it's way more than that. These are tapirs, if you don't know. And a baby tapir tends to have all of these little spots. Well, not tends to, they have these little spots all over them. But, like, it was like I was hiding in the forest, right? I was hiding in the shadows, and even the tapir themselves are a very elusive animal, and for the longest time, like, we didn't even really know much about them. Um, and I just find it fascinating, but yeah, I wanna go back and maybe it's time to finish this piece. Maybe it's time to, like, do that work that I never kind of put into it. I love There's, like, this face in here that I keep coming back to, and I don't know if I ever intended to do that originally, but I look at the hands and I die because, like, they're not perfect. Um, I have a lot of pieces like this, and I honestly now am starting to realize why my process is always it kind of always looks like it's not finished or it's in process. And I think that's kind of just part of who I am, that I have to experience things through the process. I had to go through cycles and cycles and cycles of relationship things because if I hadn't, I really wouldn't have learned it. And yeah, it's sometimes painful. And yeah, it's hard. But honestly, being here now and having this steadiness and be able to look at my things and see kind of like the wisdom in it now, even with like, there's a whole bunch of my other artwork that I mean, I haven't even, nobody's ever seen my photography. Nobody's ever seen, there's so many things that I have done in my lifetime. I textiles and all sorts of stuff. But I've hidden this part of me and I don't really want to hide it anymore. And I think there was always this piece of when you're autistic, you're multi-talented. You have this ability to absorb a million different things and learn them really quickly. And for me, I've always been like, the story of the glass. If you've been around for a while, I went glass blowing last year for the first time ever, and my glass is literally perfect. And one of the people I was there with had blown glass for like 18 years or something, or 19 years. And they totally tried to claim my glass as their own because they couldn't believe that somebody who had never done it before could make something so perfect. And, like, I had to fight for it, but, like, I literally have picture this is why I document everything, because I literally had pictures of the glass, like, in my hand. So they couldn't really fight that one, but that's what I've been up against my whole entire life. When I show off my skills or talents, I get, like, a lot of these, like, "Oh, for fuck's sakes, like, seriously?" I remember I did a photo shoot here once, and it like, upstairs is, like, this big loft because I was a photographer and I did, like, every kind of photography, so I had to kind of be prepared for anything, and the kitchen is wide open, and I have all these cookbooks, and I remember one of the makeup artists saying, "Oh, don't tell me you cook too." And it was just this kind of, like, and that's kind of what my whole entire life has been about. Like, I've been I not have been trying, but I've been segmenting myself into all of these different pieces, and I'm kind of ready for all of them to come out all at once, and I don't know what that's gonna look like, but I know I have to allow this process to be seen more and more so people can understand. I think this is almost done, so I'm probably gonna do a live in the next couple of days to clean it off. Um, But I feel like I've kind of gotten what I want. I'm gonna take pictures of this, and then I'm gonna show details of some of the pieces so you can receive whatever you need to receive from it. But there's so like, this tiny little thing, if you get up close to it, it actually looks like a fetus. And then in here, there's, like, the what it looks like when a cell first, like, splits. But this is pretty much like my whole entire brain on a plate. Like, this is my literal code. And we all have access to our very own code. We just need to let it out. And I think that's what I'm here to kind of show people is through ritual and through creativity, you can create a space for yourself so you can be open to receive what you're put here to do. And sometimes it means just looking at the things that you love and how can I best incorporate them into my life. So through that activity, I can receive some joy and then the energy to do the thing that I'm actually supposed to do. Because when our fire isn't fueled, when we don't have anything to put on the embers to restart the fire in the morning, it's really impossible, and that's essentially what I've been doing forever in burnout, is I've been restarting my fire without any fuel, and now that I'm realizing creativity is my fuel and sharing is my fuel, and this is the way that I best communicate and the way that I best show up, now I just do the thing. So I'm kind of excited because this is like the second day of doing the thing and it feels really good. Like things have shifted in like crazy positive ways. Um yeah, so I want to start kind of sharing with you how I do that and even how this whole process works. Um It'll kind of be awesome for you guys to see from the very beginning how I get into the zone for this and how then this kind of allows me to plan my life, allows me to kind of make choices and move in the right direction. And again, your process may look nothing like this, but it may be something that you already have that you didn't realize is a portal to your map. Like there's this whole piece over here that actually says, where did it go? Create the map. Like, we all have access to this map, and this is my map, but you have your own map, and it's been kind of like I hate this whole, like, predestined thing, but it's in our bones, and I'm a huge believer in generational trauma, and then also, like, our ancestors' DNA affecting who we are today. So I think this is just a way of us connecting to that information of, for me as a shamanic druidess, I go into this trance. Like, I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but like when I'm truly just in the channel, I'm somewhere else in my mind. You know, I'm seeing things and feeling things while I'm drawing, while I'm painting. I'm having like 3 or 4 conversations with myself in my head, and then sometimes words come out, sometimes feelings come out, but it gives me a way to like reorganize that information, or maybe just allow some of the information that's been pushed down inside of me to come to light. But I wanna help you find your own way. And, I've run quite a few different programs over the years and courses over the years, but this kind of feels like the accumulation of all of them. And it actually feels way more natural than anything I've ever done before. So I just wanted this to kind of be like a, "Hey, um, we're headed on a journey together. And if you want to join along, you can like or subscribe or donate to the channel. There's all sorts of links in the stuff below. But I really want to start helping people kind of get out of that rut that we were in, that it had to look a certain way, that when we do this work, it has to be this way. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this. I mean, I'm sure somebody out there is doing something like this, but this is like, nobody said, "Hey, Emma, go and find a chalk wall and start doing this." It just kind of naturally came out of me trying to find the answers. And you will have a natural process. My friend Jen, she is a to-do list, a note taker, an info dumper. So she has lots of lists and loves to check off boxes. And she's really come up with an amazing way to keep herself organized. And through this process, has found some of those herself. Like, I'm not teaching these things. You're going to find these things on your own, because it comes out of you naturally when you start asking the right questions, or you kind of start moving in the right direction. So join along if you want something that ebbs and flows with the season, that kind of is a really gentle, easy process. It's not going to shake up your life. It's not going to, like, Kundalini, I mean, you may have a Kundalini awakening. I don't know. I have no idea what tools you're going to use. Kundalini might be one of them, and you might like crack wide open. Who knows? That's the exciting thing about it. It's your journey. I cracked my Kundalini way open, and it was like messy. I'll tell you that story later. But there's so many things that could happen. There's so many possibilities. There's so many ways that you can open your portal to the collective consciousness and just tap right in there. So let's come together. Let's learn from each other. Share how you connect. What are you doing? I had a wonderful healing bath this morning where I smoked a little joint, had a little dark chocolate, and just kind of whoo. And so much stuff came up. And I think I voice messaged a bunch of people. The problem is, while I'm in there, I don't always know. So I record things and then I get these wild messages afterwards. Um, so anywho, I have to go be human again. I have to go get my kid and then take him to work and then go get some groceries. And I really like my choice. Not in this lifetime. The first thing, like, if you ever said, "Hey, Emma, if you win the millions," do you know what my first answer would be? A chef. I want a fucking chef. So I'm putting that out there right now. I want to make enough money. Not even money. Okay, let's roll that back. I want to be supported enough that I have a chef to take care of all my nutrition needs. There we go. So it's just about looking at things completely differently. Like in a past life, I actually had food delivery and I actually had a like a trainer come to my house twice a week. Like I had a very and I'm not talking like past lives as in I was dead. I mean in this lifetime when I was a photographer, I lived a very abundant life. So I know it's possible. Um so now it's just about getting to that space. Photography, creativity, that is where my flow is. So again, do the thing. I will hmm I have to do a really big breakdown. Maybe I'll do it with a video that kind of like zooms into each of these places to tell you how to kind of like move through this energy that we're experiencing right now. Um, but yeah, there's lots of wisdom in this, not just for me, but also for you. So again, join along if you like. It's going to be wild. It's going to be free. It's going to be divergent. So join us in the wild healing. Bye.